You, well, hello, Bruce. Uh,
Stephen, hello.
it's wonderful to have you on the Fireside chat.
It's
And
lovely to be here on your pink podium of glory.
yes, yeah. Well, I'm not going to give you a choice about where you sit. You can, I mean, you're free to sit wherever you want. But I know that you've got your own um, wonderful armchairs and things at your palace in Birmingham.
In
But
Birmingham.
I'll start off with with, with the opening slide, which in today is you. Somebody mentioned, I did ask a few people, if they had any questions. And somebody mentioned the mankini, which naturally brought me to go and find a picture of you in the mankini. This is from when you were a young man. I mean, how many? It's like 15 years ago at least.
Probably, yeah, 15 or 16 years
Yeah.
ago. It was, yeah.
I I bet you look as good today as you did then.
I'm actually slimmer now.
I believe it. Well, you don't look fat there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the camera wasn't flattering me, Steve, but modern
No, I
cameras
mean
do a
the
better
your
job.
hair looks a bit short. I mean you more, you've got that Jeremy Keith look now.
I was going for the Steve Folder look, actually.
Yeah, right. Nobody wants to look like me.
Oh,
Everybody wants to be me, but nobody wants to look like me. It's quite an interesting dilemma. Anyway, Fireside Chat sponsored by HTMLZ, your friendly web standards leisure wear provider. You can go to etsy.com HTMLZ, and if you use the code Piggy Trump, you get 20% off.
20% off.
Yeah, 20 fucking percent. I'm not messing around. Well, I don't make any money from it anyway. It's never been about the money. It's just, I mean, it's about getting the word out.
And the sheer joy of seeing glamorous supermodels like me wearing your
Wearing,
merch.
yes.
What was
And
the
yes,
URL?
and of course, you will receive an item of your choice from the shop just for being on this show tonight.
Fantastic.
Uh,
What's the URL again for the people at home,
it's,
Steve?
oh, hold on. It's www.etsy.com. That's HTTPS. Um, now, let me just, I'll have to find the actual, move your picture. It's etsy.com /UK /shop /HTMLZ.
And 20% off. Wow.
20% off everything, regardless
Whoa.
of how little or how much you buy. That's the sort of
Incredible
person
stuff.
I am. I mean, yeah, what I aim to do is not to make a loss. That's, it just kicks over. But I, especially at Christmas time, I like all the people from work. I offer that to get them something. So, and usually because I actually have so many items but so little actual purchase. I mean, I sold about 500 and odd items, but I've got like about 200 shirts. So one of the shirts, like many of the shirts, I've only got one or they're like one-offs. People are wearing
Collector's
them. They
item.
don't realize they're wearing an original.
They don't realize the glory
Yeah.
that they are wearing. Wow. What a bargain.
Some
Everybody.
people, some people do. And plus, I have knocked, brought the prices down on a range of goods already, so it's 20% off the much cheaper price. So, so for example, there's one of Pat that's got him in a sailor's cap. He's lovely smiling face with a bushy beard. It says Aria underneath. Nobody's bought that. And I was offering to give more and virtually pay people to bloody take them. But anyway, look, I mean, I'm just raving on already. I've already gone off on some stupid tangent when I should be asking you questions.
Ask me
Anyway,
searching questions, and Steve.
sorry, I will.
Ask me difficult
Let,
questions. Make
oh,
me squirm.
I'm not going to make you squirm. I mean, I'm not there. I just want to just chat to you about this and that. I mean, you're an interesting guy with lots of things that you do, and I wanted to get onto those. Now, let me just. Oh, okay. I want to stop this share for a moment. There we are, the two side by side, and now I want to share something else, which is the Rose Gallery. So, oh fuck. Now I've got to find the Rose Gallery. Hold on.
I wonder if I'm going to be able to get to see this.
Oh. Ah, there we go. Yes. Yes, I found it. Now, screens. Okay. Believe it or not, this it work goes a lot smoother than it used to, this whole thing. So, all right. So there's you and we're looking at the Rose Gallery.
Wow.
So and each week I try to do or each talk I try to do a bunch of rogues, new rogues. There's always some of the same old rogues because they're my muckers. But first off, top left, do you recognise the person with the H on their forehead?
Is it Mr. HTML5?
No, that
I don't recognize them.
it's Doctor Swallow. It's always Doctor Swallow.
Goodness me, flipping heck.
Yeah, when he yeah, that's Dr. Swallow as Arnold Rimmer.
Right,
And
right.
also Holly from like he's a mix between Holly and Arnold Rimmer. Anyway, that's that was actually a graphic from a article that I published on TPGI back in the day. Um, okay, next to him,
That is obviously the web standards Terry Wogan himself, Jeremy Keith.
Jeremy, and so you well, I mean, you know him, obviously, but I mean, is that someone you hang out, have a beer with?
We have had beers. He has told me witty jokes. I've told him witty jokes. Yeah, good chap.
Excellent.
Good taste in shirts. He actually asked me where I buy my colourful shirts from, and being a gent, I told him as long as he never told anybody else.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen his shirts, and I don't even know if I want to be able to. Anyway, that's another subject. But yeah, his shirts. He reminds me of like when I was in my early 20s or late teens. I was a goth. I got into goth a bit because there was this band called the Church.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Church.
yeah.
Australia. There was a number. There's a bit of a goth scene, and I used to wear shirts like that. That was post mod. When I was after I was a mod, I became a goth. Then I became a hippie. So I, just moved around.
Did you like do this overnight? Did you sort of go to bed all goth with your eyeliner and
No,
still seeing
no,
the Banshees and woke up, I don't know, singing The Who and riding a Vespa or
no,
something?
no. I was a mod before from when I was like 16 till I was about 19, and then I got into being a goth, bit of a goth, but not really. And then I just became a stoned hippie drunkard.
So
And I became
I
a drunkard.
so I see what's happening. You went from mod, which is 3 letters, to goth, which is 4 letters, to hippie, which is 5 letters.
Yeah, it's the progression.
So now you're like granddad, which is 7 letters. So I wonder.
I'm not a yeah, I'm not a grandfather I may look like one, but I'm not actually, I don't have any, um,
I think you're the grandfather of web accessibility.
oh yeah, 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 no, it's not me. But that's Greg Van Hyden. Just ask the next person who
That,
you,
of course, is Patty Poo Herbert Lauker.
yes, yes. I remember I went through a stage of fascination of using that picture that you had of him on the toilet. Uh,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
and I used it in a lot of marketing material for TPG and just anywhere I could really. Um,
Well, yes, yes. I can see that the TPG's a roaring success right at the moment, isn't it? From
oh
the
yes, yeah, it's helping along. It's helping them along. Um, let's not yet speak ill of a past employer. Um,
I do
but
regret taking that
so you've
picture.
known Patrick for many a year, haven't you?
I think we met in 2005 at maybe even 2004 at one of the inaugural UK web conferences called App Media, I think. And he and I, because in those days, of course, people didn't really know what each other looked like because there were blogs, but
Hold on a
photos.
sec. Could you just close that door? Sorry. Oh, yeah, no, it's all right. Yeah, so
There were blogs, but everybody had a postage stamp sized profile pic, and on dial-up you couldn't be asked to let it load, so you didn't know what people looked like. So Pat and I enjoyed walking around that media, and I'd be interrupting people's conversations and saying things like, "Well, of course, the web's an inherently visual medium," and they go, "What accessibility?" And I'd listen and say, "Well, my name's Jez Lemon. Lovely to meet you." So Pat and I did that for a little while to get Jez a bad name. So this is why
it's
Jez.
funny, yeah, I mean, 'cause talking about jazz because I he had a deep impact upon my early days of accessibility, and I still think his blog still looms large in my head, but most people just don't know about him anymore.
Juicy Studio, Jesmondo Citron, as
Yeah.
as he's known in the circus.
I mean, I've worked with him for like 19 years now, or 20 years.
Crikey, give him a hug from me.
I will. It's his birthday today. Yes, it's his
No
birthday today because
way.
it's 6 days before my birthday.
Oh, just sneaking that one in. Well, happy birthday, Gismondo Citron, and happy birthday, Steve
And
Fox.
we're the same, well, we will be the same age for at least 5 days. I'm younger than him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder what his secret is then.
I have no idea. But anyway, yeah, Pat, I remember Pat like likes to tell this story about when he was in at South by Southwest back in I think he was with you. I think it was you, but you introduced him to what's his name? Who's the good?
Tantek Chelik.
Yeah, Tantek Chelik.
I was there, yes, yes. It was
Yes,
just after my book, yeah, the book that Remy and I wrote came out. And
and
Pat
he
was lubricated with free conference beers.
he said something untoward like, "Hello, my name's Patrick Lork, and I'm a massive cunt."
That's pretty much verbatim, yes. And I don't think he'd realised the fact that that word is like, I don't know, fucking kryptonite or something to America.
Yeah, I mean he still uses it, but I
That's a
think
good
he
word.
does realise now.
It's a good word, and the person he was introducing himself to looked aghast and fucked off to the other side of the room and never talked to us again.
Well, that
Which
sounds like
happens a
Pat's
lot. It does
plan.
happen a lot when I'm going around with Pat, actually. People look aghast and fuck off and never talk to us again.
Oh,
But
he's a little pussycat. I manage him, believe it or not. I've managed him for years because I used to manage him at TVG, and now I manage him now. And I mean, it's more of a collaborative relationship.
yeah, yeah, that's what plantation owners used to say, Steve. Go
Hey,
on.
oh, Bloody hell. All right. I'm supposed to be grilling you, not you're not supposed to be grilling me. Moving swiftly on, we'll leave Patrick there. He can talk for himself. This guy, I realize this, I don't know what I've done to this picture, but he looks fucking weird.
Well, he is fucking weird. That's Stuart Langridge.
Yeah, but he doesn't look weird like that normally. He looks like, sort of like Peppa Pig's dad. I mean, that is really odd. I don't mean that to be mean to Stuart. I think that I've done something to the photo. But anyway, Stuart Language is I saw him at State of the Browser last year. It was excellent. I really like he's got a fine mind, and he's working with you on stuff, isn't he? Apple. I've, I've got these notes, and I put Apple Fight, um,
Apple
and
pie. Yes.
which is which it's probably a mischaracterization of the whole thing, but I think it reminds me that what you're doing. Can you explain a bit about what you're doing with this stuff?
Sure. Well, it's not really me anymore because when I joined Vivaldi, I had to resign from the board of Open Web
Oh,
Advocacy.
I didn't realize.
Well, yes, because the point of Open Web Advocacy was lots of independent web developers who cared about the web but had no skin in the game. And when I joined a web browser, even though we're 57 people in a workers' cooperative, I didn't want Apple's lawyers to be able to point to Open Web Advocacy and say, ah, ha, ha, they're not independent web developers. Because look, Bruce Lawson works for Big Little Tech.
Yeah.
So I resigned, although obviously I'm still matey with them. But yeah, it was just after the lockdown or just after the 78th lockdown. And this geezer from your neck of the woods, actually, Steve, from Woolloomooloo in Australia.
Who's
Um,
who's from Woolloomooloo?
well, he's from Australia. You're from Australia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Woolloomooloo's in Sydney. Yeah, it's a suburb of
Is
Sydney.
there? I don't know. Well, he's from somewhere called Adelaide.
Oh, well, it's totally different. Yeah,
Anyway, but this guy contacted me. He'd been pointed in my direction by John Allsop, another Gandalf of the web. And he said, we I see you've written stuff about Apple and how they basically stifle innovation by only allowing WebKit on iPhones and they won't allow nice things in WebKit. He said, although I sound Australian, mate, I'm a British citizen, and
citizen. Yeah, right.
and he'd found out that the UK government were consulting about competition in the mobile ecosystem and said, we fancy speaking to the government and telling them, what Apple are doing. And it was him and his brother, James. And I drink with Stuart every fortnight. We go out to the pub because we both work from home, so it's a good chance to meet up. And I know that Stuart's really good at explaining difficult stuff to people in a way that doesn't make them feel they're being utterly condescended to.
Yeah,
So this guy Alex in Australia and his brother James and me and Stuart formed Open Web Advocacy and muscled in, spoke to the Competition and Markets Authority, which is the UK monopoly regulator, and said, you guys are looking at Android versus iOS, but there's the web, and the web is designed not to be platform specific.
yeah,
Um, and the web, it's mature technology, it's 30 odd years old, it's possible to make it accessible, blah, 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 internationalizable. You should be looking at the web. And I think they were so surprised to meet a group of ramshackle web developers rather than turkey-teethed permatanned lobbyists. So they listened to us and then they introduced us to the EU, said, you guys want to talk to these fellas. So we talked to the EU and the EU redrafted the Digital Markets Bill, as it was then, to explicitly reference web browser engines. Because, of
Wow.
course, a lot of people don't even know that Chrome or Firefox or Vivaldi on iOS isn't the real product that's everywhere else because you're
Yeah.
forced to use WebKit. Because Apple said, oh, there's loads of browsers on iOS. Yeah, but they're all hamstrung by having to use the system supplied WebKit, which Apple controls. And then the EU passed the Digital Markets Act, which references web browser engines. Then we spoke to the Americans, the Japanese. In fact, I've just written to the Japanese regulator today, Koreans, Malaysians, all just to free up iOS so that the web can have a fighting chance of making a comeback on mobile devices instead of apps. And Stuart's been instrumental in that. But also, he's just a jolly good chap, and
Yeah.
we've worked together on and off for 20 years, making silly little demos and doing bits of consultancy here and there. And it's his
So
birthday soon, so
I
happy
hear
birthday.
that you're planning to meet Pat the Swallow and I for a drink on the end of the month.
I may do that. I mean,
And
it's
have
always
you
possible.
has Stuart been invited?
He hasn't because you invited me, so I didn't extend an
Well, I
invite.
didn't invite you. Um, Pat
Ah,
did.
but I believe Stuart's actually got up with his mom because it will be a milestone birthday for him. Not the big 7-0 like yourself, but
I'm 62. Thank you. You.
yeah, of course you
Yeah.
are. Um, but
The bloody Pat's
I
amazing.
will extend the invitation to him.
Well,
For,
tell him, yeah, it'd be nice to see him. I mean,
well, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to turn up yet because there's always a chance that Salma Hayek or Halle Berry will want to
any
meet up.
any possibility. Um, yeah, but I mean, if I do see you, it being in the company of Stuart would actually make it worthwhile. Uh,
Now, who's the person on the top right with the hat on? I recognize the face.
yeah, well, he's a friend of Cerberus, if that gives you a clue.
Oh, bloody hell. What was his name? Cerberus? Ben something.
Ben, yeah.
Ben Millard?
Yes, Ben Millard, yes.
Jesus, how did I
He's
dream?
a friend of Cerberus. Well, he's not really a friend of Cerberus. You will know her. It's sort of like a Gumby looking picture, isn't it? That's John Gibbons.
Bloody hell. Is it really?
Yeah,
Goodness me.
I thought that was a shoe in for you, but yeah, it does look a bit odd.
Don't forget all these photos, apart from the one of Stuart looking like Peppa Pig's dad, are quite old pictures.
No, that's not that old.
Is it not?
They just look old because it's bad because I'm bad at taking pictures.
Ah, come on, it's
And
donkey.
also because what I do is I copy the picture as and then sort of munge it into place, and so it's affected.
Right, with no respect for aspect ratio.
Exactly.
Right.
So moving swiftly on, John Gibbons, great guy.
Yeah.
What more can you say? Friend of Ben Millard's. Uh,
And that's Heilman, Christian Heilman.
yeah, like what I wanted to do was include some of your peers. Some people that sort of dance in this to the same tunes that you do in your own way.
I don't know that I've ever worn a sequined mankini and really got down to Boney M's Rah Rah Rasputin, which is obviously Christian's favorite song. And
Is it?
Yeah.
That photo was from State of the Browser last year, so it wasn't that old.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay.
the next one you should recognise, even
Well,
though
that's
again,
Dave. Oh no, it's not. It's not. It's not Dave. It's Dave. Dave the bloody Tory,
yeah, Dave Latore.
the Yorkshireman. Great guy.
Yeah,
Runs up the browser with
uh,
web standards people. Um, Jolly nice chappy,
I think
etc.
he tolerates me, so I like him.
Well, he invited you to speak at State of the Browser, which indicates more than tolerance.
Yeah, but I'll never get asked back. Talking of speakers that state the browser, this was I can't remember if it was, no, this was the year before 2024. Who's the person sitting next to Dave? It's, I'll give you a clue. SS.
Is it
And that
Reinhard Heydrich?
who? No, this is SS, and that's not a comment on her politics.
The thing is, mate, because you've got all these pictures that like fucking Kodak Instamatic 3D.
Stephanie Steinmack, that's who it is. She
Is that Stephanie? Oh
yeah,
God.
that was before her talk at State of the Browser. She talked,
Yeah, when she was
or
she had
maybe
to
she
bugger
talked
off.
before me or after. She talked before me.
She did. She was first, wasn't she? Because she had to
Yeah,
bugger off because it was her wedding anniversary.
yeah. Um, Next person along.
Well, that obviously is Slim Jim O'Donnell, as he's
Yeah.
known.
Now, why? He's got this moniker, this epithet or whatever it is, um, prefix of evil. What? eh, Do you know why? Is
Why
he?
is he evil?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not evil, but he is what is called the south of England's not Grand Wizard. That's he's the leader of the Church of Satan in the south of England.
Oh, is he? I didn't realize
No,
that.
no, I just made that up.
Oh, he could well be. I mean, there's something not quite right. I don't trust the guy, but I like it. You know, it's
I,
like
I like him, but I know that he seldom takes that hat off, and if he does, you see a couple of little horns.
coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Talking about horns and the horned one, here's you in the corner down the bottom.
that's me in the corner. That's me in the
Yeah,
spotlight,
yeah,
losing. Oh, that's me in my retro 80s anti-Nazi League t-shirt.
yeah. And I
And
can't remember if that was last year or the year before, but it was definitely State of the Browser. That was outside the pub after the show.
I think it was last year because I don't think I've had that t-shirt more than a year.
Yeah, and it looked good on you. Who's next?
Oh, blimey.
Look, don't you know anybody?
No, I don't.
This
I'm
is
not.
Lola Olajalola.
I thought it was Lola. Yeah, I was about
Yeah,
to say bloody Lola, but because I introduced her at ID 24
yeah.
last year. No, but I don't know anybody. Like you're the one with the penthouse in flipping Richmond or wherever you live in the bustling metropolis. I'm a silly old
I
parochial
live
up
in
in the
Kingston upon
Midlands.
Thames, and you've done a lot more, sort of, you've done the circuit more than me, a lot. So I imagine that you do know, people know you, Bruce. They, you mention their name and their hearts melt.
Well, you're talking about Sam Hayek and Halle Berry, aren't you?
Yeah. But
Um,
anyway, Lola Dalola, she's on the tag now, the Technical Architecture Group at
Yeah.
W3C. She's doing this ACD stuff, Accessory Conformance Database, or I can't exactly remember what it stands for, but I'm
Isn't she,
involved.
isn't she doing a course on uh, regulation and the web or something like that?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that as well. She's got her fingers in many pies.
How does she find, well, she's a young one, isn't she? That's how she finds the energy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, she's young, and so which helps. And
Yes. Yes.
um, she's working with. I was in a meeting with her, Estelle Weil, which is Blast from the Past, and Cynthia Shelley and
Cynthia.
Steve Kerr, I think. Well, no, mate, no. Steve Kerr was another. They all blend in these meetings. Anyway, she's doing some interesting work, and she's going to come and speak on this very podcast at some point.
Nice.
Now, next to her is,
I reckon that's Uncle Adrian Rosselli.
yeah, yeah, he's a walking billboard. Like he's wearing the T-shirt of the picture that I made of him sitting there at the table speaking into his Twitter phone or whatever, and there he is doing it.
Oh, I mean, Adrian, he's recognizable because of his bouffant, his coiffure, but also he has a glorious track record of like obscuring his face in photos and things. So,
Yes.
but yes, I mean, I've known Adrian. Well, I've known Adrian online forever because when we were setting up Glasshouse, which was a web web programming book publishers. I used to read the eVault list religiously.
Ah, and he was, yes.
He was Adrian on there, and we
Yeah.
we got him into tech edit and then write something, and that's where he got all his wealth from, writing books for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Why he's independently wealthy? I thought he did it by scamming overlay companies to sue him and then making lots of money out of it.
well, that is one of his revenue streams. But I think that's more just a fun project because of all the money he's got from the books, and of course, um, all of his shares in the artificial intelligence companies that he's
No, I
so
I don't
keen on.
believe that. Um, did you? He recently, well, there's a book coming out that he's got a chapter in it, and other people, all the people that you hear about in accessibility. I think, what's her name? Lainey Feingold and etc. Uh, I didn't know anything about the book. I wasn't even asked. That's why I don't think about the book.
That's why I don't even mention it. You don't even
Yeah,
you can't even mention the title of this book. They didn't
I
want.
can't. Yeah, it's called something in regulation or something. It's a real firecracker. I mean, I must admit, you had your own one of those, didn't you? You and Pat. Pat just keeps going on about it, real steam, and like it's his party pickup line. He talks about some book that he was did a chapter with.
He did. In fact, I could probably brandish it at you, but I had a bit of a clear out of my office.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, hang on. Here it is. Wait a moment. Web accessibility. Oh fuck. That's my Doraemon um small change thing. Web accessibility and Jim Thatcher, RIP, Christian Heilman, Sean Henry, Kirkpatrick, Patrick H. Lorca, Bruce Lawson.
What's in that book? I mean, I've never read any of these books, so
You can't read, can you, mate?
no, I can feel them.
That's why you bang on about screen readers, because you just have them read out to you, don't you? But
Well,
well, I mean, it's very much of its time. It's donkeys years ago now, but it was a what is web accessibility, how you make accessible JavaScript. Oh, look, accessible Flash, PDF accessibility. An intro to WCAG 2, which I don't know had actually come out yet,
well,
and a handy glossary of terms in which there's alt text. I don't know if you can see. I wrote this because it says the most common alternative text is found as an attribute of the image element and describes the function of an image, or is blank in the case of purely decorative images. It is evil and wrong to refer to this as an alt tag. There is no alt element in HTML, and many hope that WCAG 3.0 will mandate the death penalty for such incorrect nomenclature.
yeah, right. I think they mentioned WCAG 3. WCAG 3 is in the future for all of us. Okay, so next to Adrian, do you know this person? You probably
Hang on,
don't.
hang on. I haven't finished my anecdote
Oh,
of this.
sorry.
And this is one of the books that Anthropic used to train their AI on.
Really?
I have a little claim in, a copyright claim, so I can get massive quantities of cash
Will
from the
you get, I
AI.
mean, what sort of quantities of cash are you looking at?
Ah, I mean, it's less than a million, Steve.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
but even then, I mean, you're talking, I think you're talking about hundreds rather than thousands, no?
no, we're talking. It's capped at a maximum of 3,000 US per book, and as you can see, I'm one of 10 authors, and
So
of course,
300.
lawyers' fees will all be deducted from that. So about 38 pence, but well, it'll be enough to buy a pint, and I shall pretend I'm drinking the vital fluids of the AI tech bros.
Excellent. Well, hopefully you're successful. Um, do you know the person next to Adrian?
I do, but I can't remember.
Her name is Yanina Sajka or Seika. Yeah, don't get me into that. She's been around the W3C working group. She's for longer than I have. She's a blind woman who plays piano really well. Uh, and she's just a character. She's worked with the Linux Foundation for donkey's years. She's been a chair of various working groups. She's currently the chair of the Accessible Platform Architecture Working Group with a guy called Matthew Atkinson. I don't know if you've ever encountered Matthew.
Matthew Atkinson, is he a Londoner?
Yes, he is from London.
Works for
Uh,
Samsung.
yes, he works for Samsung now. The place where who's that other guy?
Apple Pie, Dan Apple Pie.
Yes, yes. I I think Applequist and I think Renquist. Um,
It is Applequist, yes. Dan
yes.
Applequist used to work there. In fact, I had an email from Matthew Atkinson not very long ago because my boss had been given a smartwatch, a Samsung smartwatch for his birthday or Christmas or something, and tried to set it up using Vivaldi, which he's going to because he started the company. And the Samsung smartwatch said, you've got to use Chrome or Microsoft
Really?
Edge. And given that those are all Chromium browsers, as is Vivaldi,
Yeah.
he was quite grumpy. So the only person I knew who worked at Samsung was Paul Matthews. So I emailed him and he kind of went, oh dear. Because of course there's a 28 billion people in Korea who work for Samsung, and you know what it's like trying to work through
Yeah.
Byzantine massive corporations and departments you don't know to try and find out who's who. It's,
So
I mean,
did Matthew was he helpful?
he was helpful. He didn't, nothing's actually been achieved, but he was very nice about it and even
Yeah.
emailed and said, I haven't emailed in a while, so just to let you know, I haven't given up. So at least he didn't say bugger off. But when Tetralogical is as big as Samsung, I expect that it'll be really difficult to email you or
Well, there's no
text you.
plans for it to get much bigger. That's part of our credo.
Well, when it started, it was only Leonie. I said, anybody else coming aboard? She went, God, no, they're all shit bags. And now, and now look, she's hired you.
Well, yeah, there was. I was yes. Well, she got desperate. She needed someone.
She got,
I'm a founder, if you don't mind.
you're a flounder. Isn't that kind of fish?
Yeah, no, that's flounder.
Like
Anyway,
a,
look,
like a
you
knit,
just
knit
be
via ling shit.
pernickety. So anyway, that's Unina. She, I got this picture of her from the last tea pack because what's the older Gallagher brother? Is it Noel or the other one?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Well, you know the older one.
I know the older one, but Noel's the older one, isn't he? Noel's the one that's marginally talented.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but anyway, I've got this picture of her sitting outside in the hotel sort of patio, whatever, where they're having lunch, and she's reminded very much of Noel Gallagher. It was the hair, a young Noel Gallagher, but with white hair. I thought that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, she's ages old, but she just yeah keeps battling on. Anyway, talking talking of old, do you know the person next to Yanina?
Well,
He's dead now. I can tell you that much. And he's got nothing to do with web standards, but he was born in Birmingham.
see, I was going to say, given it was black and white and all moody, it's giving me goth vibes and black and white, like before the invention of color photography. I was going to say, is it you in your goth days? But you've said he's dead now, and as far as I can tell, you're not. So he's from, is it J.R.R. Tolkien?
It's my dad.
It's your dad.
Yeah, my dad, William Faulkner. I really like that picture of him because I don't know, he's just sitting there and he's got a cup of tea and he's smoking a cigarette. That was because my dad was born in Birmingham. Um,
I knew you were not completely irredeemable, Steve.
yeah, all my family come from Birmingham except me, and I was actually up there last month visiting. I've got cousins; they're all getting on now.
Oh yeah, you were gonna
Okay,
come
so
to my house, and then you couldn't be bothered.
huh? I've
We
looked.
arranged we arranged that we were going to meet up, and then you
Yeah, I
couldn't be
know.
asked.
No, that was the last time. That was the time before when I was with just Eloisa, I think. This is I took Clara, well, that's my daughter, older daughter, and her girlfriend Faith, and
Mm.
Eloisa up to visit the family. It was my one of my cousin's 76th birthday. So
Wow,
I've got all these cousins because part of my family moved to Australia, part of their side of the family moved to Australia as well. But these are the people that were left that didn't move. Um,
the Patriots.
oh yeah, well, I don't know, but I'm glad my parents did um, go, and I didn't mind coming back because I actually went to school in Great Bar, Perry Bar, actually for a few years when I started school. But then we went back to Australia because my parents thought this is shit. Uh,
Fair. I mean, North Birmingham is pretty shit. I'm just more astounded at the revelation that you went to school. Christ.
went to school full stop. Oh, what was that? It was Perry Bar Infant School I went to.
Yeah, yeah, it's been raised now. It's been knocked
Yeah.
down.
Well, that's what where my dad was born in Aston and brought up in Aston, and it's just all been raised.
Yeah,
All the tenements or whatever that he used to live in, where his family grew up. It's all just those huge swathes of high-rise buildings and really sort of what. Well, it doesn't look um, fallow, but the ground just yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
It's all business parks and
yeah. It's just I find it a bit depressing. That's all.
I agree. My stepdad, who's dead now, but he was born in the Black Country, and until they were, I think until he was a teenager, they lived in a house that had no electricity or running water.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't think those people are terribly nostalgic for the old back-to-back slums, but
No, no, of course not. But living in these cardboard high rises that can't
yeah.
be much fun or either. But anyway, I mean, I just when I go up there, I just I don't know. Like I really like seeing my family because they're really good people. But I just find the place a bit depressing. But I mean, you might live in a nice area in Birmingham.
I live in an area that is degentrifying. It was dead posh in about 1850 because there's a canal here and they built a railway line into the city centre and
How far from town are you?
4 miles,
Oh,
seven,
okay.
7 minutes on the train. And there's lots of nice big Victorian houses in which one of which I live with a room at the top, which would have been a nursery and a servant's room.
Yeah,
Um, but yes, it's been effect. I realised that I was being hopelessly naive. I mean, my relationship to magical Silicon Valley capitalism is a bit like yours. I'm hoping not to make a loss. It's about as capitalist as I get. But these bastards, hyper capitalists with a billion dollar legal budget a year to fight and lobby and try to weasel around the rules. But we'll get there. I just hope it's
yeah.
before I retire.
Just keep well. That's the same as me and Waco 3. I, I mean, I know this is all important stuff, but considering the shit that's going down, in our world at this point in time, there's always shit going down. I feel quite unsettled by, yeah, it's not the post-war sort of peace that I have grown up in, and I don't know what the fuck's going on. I mean, when I speak with people from America, one of my favorite questions is, what the fuck is going on in your country? But what the fuck is going on in our country?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, the American thing's depressing, of course, but I don't know about you, but with kidnapping Maduro and threatening Greenland and having masked goons murder people in the street, I've completely forgotten about the Epstein files, haven't you?
No, but
No,
yeah.
but that's the aim. Well, yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean,
you
it's
can see where my
effectively,
sympathies are, Steve. I've got
yeah,
my
yes. Oh, that's a great hat.
my Denmark hat.
It'll be interesting to see how Germans, how the Europeans respond.
Well, again, that's weirdly that impacts quite heavily in my day-to-day business because I know I work for an independent European web browser, and there's quite for a long time there's been brewing this sort of we need to have better tech and data sovereignty
Yeah,
in the EU. And of course, with one of our alleged allies threatening to annex a fellow NATO member, it rather throws it into sharp relief that basically the entire Europe is mortgaged to the hilt to Microsoft, Google, Amazon via AWS rather than,
yeah.
Amazon Prime, um, Meta, X, all of these things. And the sooner we get off them, the better, as far as I'm personally concerned. I'm not speaking
Yeah.
for my
I mean, I
employer.
did, yeah, I've been hearing some reports about that sort of thing. For some reason, like it's got me to the point now where I felt it useful or important to listen to Ursula von der, whatever,
On the
von der
Leyen,
Leyen,
yeah.
Davos speech. I've never listened to anything like that before.
Well, Ursula, she's a very nice lady, and she listens to this podcast every week. So you should definitely listen to her. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. It's like now I'm reading this. We're not even in the bloody EU anymore, and I feel like I know more about EU politics and regulation than any any rock and roll love god like myself should be required to know. But these are the times we live in.
Yeah, they are. So tell us a bit more about, because to be honest, I don't know anything about Vivaldi apart from the fact it's a web browser and it's built on the Blink rendering engine. Why use Vivaldi rather than say Brave?
Well, for a start, we don't twat about. We don't engage in crypto stuff or putting our own ads in pages where other people have put ads. It's about personalization, really. Every other browser sort of simplified, 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 and everything's an option with us. You want to tab stacks, you want workspaces, you want sessions, you want an email client, you want RSS reader.
Yeah,
It's all built in. Yes, it uses the Blink rendering engine because the only choices are WebKit, and then you're hampered by Apple. Firefox, which is great, but Gecko was more difficult to work
so
with, I'm told, by
so
the
do
C++
you use a
parameters.
fork or you constantly update the Blink engine straight from
We we
core?
take Blink in and then we add our own stuff on top, like our ad blocker, the mail client, the RSS reader. Add our all the UI is completely web based,
Yeah,
and we take stuff out. The more egregious stuff that gets added to Chromium to make Chrome,
yeah.
because the difference doesn't get into Vivaldi. So things like Privacy Sandbox and Flock and these sort of privacy invading things we remove.
So what's the business model then for Vivaldi? I mean, how do they make their cash? Do they make cash?
It is deals with smaller search engines. So if you do a search on one of the partners, Ecosia, DuckDuckGo, Quant, and Start Page, if you do a search on there and buy something, we get a tiny fraction of a percent. Um,
And is it viable? Is it
it is becoming viable. Yes. I mean, we don't have any deals. Do, we did work with Bing through a third party, but not Google. We try to favour smaller, independent European orgs. And yeah, it's hard because it's very hard to get away from big tech because they're awash with cash, as you know.
Yeah,
It's even harder to get rid of them technically because, of course, we're on iOS, which is owned by Apple. We're on
yep.
Android, which is owned by Google, and we're on Windows, which is owned by Microsoft. And all of these people have a web browser that we compete against, and not all of those people behave. Uh, some of them display the fact they've got a vested interest in promoting their own web browser, shall we say.
Which is not a surprise.
Which is not a
So,
surprise, but it is now illegal in the EU at least, and Japan and Australia. And I don't know if it's illegal in the UK yet, but it contravenes the competition regulator stuff. But of course, there's enforcement has to happen, and it's
yeah,
difficult.
well, that's the big step, isn't it?
Yes, and
Um,
it's been difficult politically for the EU, for example, to enforce things against big American companies who've given Mr. Trump millions for his inauguration or given him
building the
attractive
ballroom
gold
and stuff.
things. But I rather think he's overplaying his hand, and it's looking like the EU's going to be more assertive about.
Well, they need to be. I mean, that's personally, I think they should need to stand up to this shit. Otherwise, they're gonna be steamrolled.
Well, I mean, another famous Birmingham guy, Mr. Chamberlain, came back with, I have in my hand a bit of piece of paper, peace in our time. You can't appease uh, imperialists, colonialists, fascists. Well, I don't think anybody who's a fan of his will be watching us anyway, Steve. But you can't appease people like that. You have to stand up to bullies.
Yeah, that's absolutely 100% true. Um, so you were saying that Vivaldi is a collective. So how does the structure work? Is it because the Galia is a collective? Is it sort of like that?
Well, I've not worked for Regalia, but effectively, yes, we're all shareholders in the company, including the HR people and the lady who cleans up the office and brings in the sandwiches.
Where's the
Uh,
head office?
Oslo in
Oh,
Norway.
okay.
There's a satellite office in Reykjavik in Iceland, and that's where all the infrastructure is. So
So
we
any of the people that are involved in opera?
opera. Yeah, yeah, quite a lot. When I rejoined, 'cause I've been a Vivaldi user for a few years before they'd asked me to join,
Yeah.
and it really was like the coolest people from the early days of opera, like when Pat and I were working there, and Henny, of course, worked there, and a few more cool people. There's only 57 of us. We're all co-owners, no independent investors. To make us, pivot and do crap things.
So you like it, and it's somewhere where you think you'll be for a while.
Well, I hope I'm there till I retire. But of course, big tech wants to crush all opposition. I'm never go It's never going to make me rich, but they let me do my own thing. They
Yeah,
trust me.
yeah.
There's no micromanagement, all the bullshit that I just can't be dealing with at this time of my life.
Sounds good.
I like it. I mean, not everybody can be a tycoon like yourself, Steve, a founder of a large company.
I'm
Presumably
not a
you
tycoon. I don't.
presumably you, Leone and Henny, are building your rocket to Mars as we speak.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And Ian, the four of
Of
us.
course.
Yeah,
Of course, yes, yes. The
yeah. We
power.
have it. We call it the mothership, and we're getting ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is not the case. Yes, we're a successful company, but we pay everybody really well
Yeah.
and have lots of really good benefits for
I
everybody.
know you pay better than Vivaldi.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just the way we are, and we try to ensure that people can do stuff, and yeah. So anyway, I'm sure that Pat could probably complain to you about it, but that's because I'm his manager, and I imagine that that would be a great burden for him.
No, he has nothing but wonder. He writes sonnets about you that he sends me.
Yeah,
Ode to a Stephen Faulkner. Earth hath nothing to show more fair.
no,
His
I
Antipodean face and his lovely white hair.
we have we yeah we as you know that Pat and I have a great love, platonic love for each other. No,
Mhm.
no funny business
Not at your
involved.
age.
um, Talking of funny business,
Yes.
I am thinking that we should perhaps, unless you have any hot goss that you want to share, I think we should perhaps close it down at this point because we've been going for just over an hour, and I'm trying to keep them around an hour.
That works for me because my smaller than before stomach is beginning to rumble, and I do worry that I'm gonna have to empty the dog because my family have buggered off on holiday, leaving me to look after my daughter's useless dog. And it ate about an hour and a half ago, so it's probably ready to it's probably ready to drop an apple.
Ah, well, yeah, well, lucky you. Our dog Lola's on steroids because she's got some sort of immune disease
Oh
problem.
God.
So she's just pissing like a demon. She just pisses all over the place. I have to put nappies on her to go downstairs. We live like second floor of a big building, and it's 47 steps down, and she can't make it down the stairs without peeing. So I have to put a nappy on her.
I've been to Falconer Mansions, remember, many years ago.
Really? I
Yes,
can't remember that.
I've been to Falconer Mansions. I think Pat and I carried you back after a drug-fueled drinking bash.
Oh, that must have been many years ago though.
It was many years ago.
Before we got the second wing, the
Well, yeah,
upstairs.
yeah. I don't think you built the turrets at that.
No.
Um, and it was before your old butler retired. Um, because you had that agency chambermaid lady in the French chambermaid outfit going, "Oh, right away, Mr. Faulkner." You're like, "Strife!"
Untrue, untrue.
Oh, I remember it well. You're like, "Strife, Mary Ellen, I'm pissed as a fat. Bring me a massive tin of Vegemite." She's like, "Right away, Mr. Faulkner. I'll just tickle you with my feather
Thanks,
duster."
thanks, Bruce. Thanks for yes, yes.
Is it
I
coming back now? Coming back to you now, is it?
I revel in my Australianness. Sir Les Patterson is one of the people that I aspire to be.
You are rapidly metamorphosing, my friend.
Good, good.
I before we close, I know there's been a tumult of people asking on social media, which my favorite mankini is.
Yes.
Um, my favorite mankini, I don't know where it's gone actually, but it is a red mankini with white furry trimmings a la Father Christmas that was sent to me by a Ms. Henny Swan, who I believe you know.
Yeah,
Um,
never sent me a Mancini. Um,
does she not?
no.
You might want to
So
bring you might
I
want to
think I've
bring
seen
that
a
up.
picture of you in that as well.
You might want to bring that up because now she's head of marketing for Tetralogical. I can see a lots of
The
all of you
potential.
lined up in Father Christmas mankinis and like don't be a ho ho ho, be accessible. Could be your
Yeah,
Christmas card. Oh God,
sounds brilliant.
the
Um,
dog's barking,
yeah,
so
now
I should
fuck off.
probably take him. Yeah, yeah. You fuck off first, Faulkner.
Hopefully, I'll see you. And
Will do, my friend.
thank you for talking to us today. And hopefully, at some point in the future, I'll get you back on to talk some more about the stuff that you do because you always just get a little bit of what I want from people, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, because usually it's just me raving on, which doesn't help. I'm really trying hard to reduce the amount of noise that I produce, but
Well, hopefully I've made some noise for you. Well, thank you, Steve, for all you do for accessibility, and thank you for all you've done for the renaissance of didgeridoo classical music. It's been absolutely excellent. I saw a bloke playing Dancing Queen on the didgeridoo only earlier, and I thought,
oh,
oh
really?
wow, I thought that's Aboriginal.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about a bad pun, but there you go. Thank you. Somebody else was on the interwebs was asking. Cheers, Bruce. Look after yourself.
Take it easy, pal.
Have fun. Hopefully, I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Will do, mate. Take it
Bye.
easy. Bye.